sector was able to accommodate us here. This government belongs to Albertans, and that's why we're here. So we can have an open and honest conversation about the proposed changes and hear your thoughts in person. We know that you're the experts and that all of us want employees to be safe at work. Of course, farming and ranching is more than a job, it's a way of life. Myself, ministers, MLAs, and our Premier have all heard from farmers and ranchers who are concerned this bill could hurt that way of life. I take those concerns very seriously, because that was never the intent of this bill. I want to tell you today, on behalf of our whole caucus, we're sorry. We should have provided the details about how we plan to protect farm and ranch families when we first introduced the bill. Our officials are currently working on amendments that we will share very soon that clarify our intention. Now, why I can't share with those with you right now is because they have to be, by law, they have to be introduced in the House first before they can be made public. Specifically, WC coverage and rules will only apply to paid employees, unless a farm or ranch operator chooses to opt their farm and their family and neighbors into the coverage, as some already do. On occupational health and safety, the rules that set a minimum safety standard, only paid employees will be included. These amendments will take effect at the same time the bill does. Rules that relate to employment standards, things like hours of work and other employment standards, won't take effect until spring 2016. The same is true for labor relations related provisions. We need to make sure that the specifics of how the bill is implemented work for farms and ranchers, and that's why we'll continue our consultations with you through the winter. We need to get the regulations right and work with you to do that. We have not been clear enough in communicating with you about this bill, but these amendments will be one way we can do better. As a result of feedback from Grand Prairie, we have also made changes to the consultations. We will make sure that there are cabinet ministers at every session. We are consulting with you to ensure the laws governing farm work make sense. Other provinces have rules to protect the farming community, and we're looking at those as well. We want to work with you to create a made in Alberta solution. I want to be sure you know neighbors and family members who still lend a helping hand to work in the fields, care for the livestock, can still do so. Farm kids will still. The farm life everyone in this room goes here will go on without government intervention. The intent of Bill C is to protect paid workers on farms and ranches while preserving the family farm. Today we want to talk about how to accomplish both. Through the survey and in the Grand Prairie session, we have heard from people across the province about this legislation. Without question, this matters deeply to Albertans. We want to be clear that these conversations we're having now are just the beginning. We'll continue the conversations in the new year to make sure the rules we create make sense, that they're practical, enforceable, and respect the family farm. We understand family farms are not typical 9-to-5 businesses. A family farm is different from a large-scale producer, and the farm and ranch industry is different from the construction industry. We believe all paid employees should have the right to basic protections, including a workplace that is safe, fair, and healthy. We know that many of you are already providing this environment to your hired employees. Let's talk a little about what the legislation does and does not say. Government's intent with occupational health and safety legislation is to help employers and paid workers ensure their workplaces are safe and healthy. Gives you one more little tool in your first aid kit, if you will, right? This includes providing a safe work environment and reporting serious injuries. OH inspectors can only enter your premises if they believe it's necessary to do so for the purposes of enforcing the act. For example, to respond to a complaint or a belief that the act has been violated. We know that these will be the absolute exceptions. It will most certainly not be the rule. But if a tragedy does happen, OH&S will be able to work with farm owners to prevent similar accidents in the future. This bill will support the work you have already done to promote safe and healthy work environments. This legislation will not allow OH&S to come into your homes. We've heard those concerns very clearly, and I'm here to tell you that we will not allow that. When a family owns a restaurant and lives in an apartment in the second story, OH&S does not have the right to go into that apartment. We want to work with you to make sure that rules for farms and ranchers make sense according to common sense. We want to hear from you about best practices on Alberta farms and ranches. We want to help all of our farms and ranches learn from those examples. As I said, we have not been clear enough about the rules for workers' compensation coverage. Today, we want to clear up those misconceptions. With us today, we have several technical experts on those. If questions get technical, we're here to help all of us clear up any of those misconceptions and help answer those questions. This bill will mean that farm or ranches with paid employees will be required to open a WCB account. These changes will not take into effect until the spring, and we will be consulting before that to make sure the appropriate exemptions are in place for farm and ranches the same way they are for WCB and OH&S. We want to make sure kids can still do their chores and grandparents and neighbors can still help out the way they always have. We are required to update the Labor Relations Code to comply with a recent Supreme Court of Canada decision. Last January, the court ruled that all employees must be permitted to join a union if they so choose. We must comply with the law. That means we must extend the labor relations right to workers in all sectors, including the farming and ranching industry. When the law comes into effect, your employees will not automatically become union members. And in fact, in other provinces with this legislation already in place, the rate of unionization is extremely low. As we develop regulations, we will consider whether special exemptions might need to be in place to protect the operation of farm and ranches during critical times. We already know those critical times, whether it's harvest time or calving time. Those are times, obviously, it's not a 9-to-5 operation.
Never is.
It never is, right? Today I want to give you a high-level overview of the proposed bill and clear up some of the misconceptions out there. I hope I clarified some aspects of Bill 6, and we are trying to do as well as we're telling you that we will definitely not do. It's only the start of our conversation. We know you have concerns, so now it's your turn. We're happy to take the chance now to take your questions and your feedback. We also have other staff here as well who will be taking notes, taking back to us so we can share with the rest of our cabinet and our caucus as well on what we hear today. Tomorrow open till Thursday, we're in Lethbridge and throughout next week at other locations as well. So again, thank you.